Hi everyone, welcome to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I'm excited to do another set of Taylor Swift socks with you today. I am going to be starting my Speak Now socks, which I'm really excited about the yarn I found because I tried kind of visualing designs with yarn I had in my stash, and even though I had some purpley things, I didn't have anything that was quite right. So I was really excited when I stumbled upon this Patons Kroy colorway. I believe just at my local Joann. It was a little bit of a while ago. I know that these skeins look like they are two different colors, but they are just at different points in the striping pattern. It has some blues, some purples, some fuchsias, and it's a nice marled variegated yarn, which I'm really excited to try. This is the colorway Celestial Colors in the Patons Kroy Socks FX line. So I got two skeins to make my pair of socks. I'll also be using my trusty Chowgu red lace needles for this. I have kind of discovered in the last couple pairs of socks I've made that I actually prefer a longer cord when knitting socks, just because it's a little easier to keep everything together when doing magic loop. Whereas before I thought that I would prefer the shorter ones. I have kind of discovered I like the longer ones better. And for the pattern I'm using, I can already see that it requires some stitch markers, so I also have some little round knitting stitch markers just ready to go here. The pattern I chose is called, I'm looking at it on my computer, the Dragon Fairy Socks by Amanda Stevens. And in my 1989 socks, I featured a stitch design that kind of looked like scales. So I was really happy to find another scale-inspired design that looks totally different from the Mermaid Avenue socks that I did for 1989. The reason why I chose a sock pattern with dragon in the title is because these socks are going to be inspired by Long Live, specifically the line, "I had the time of my life fighting dragons with you." And this feels really special to me. I've ended up kind of having a lot of dragon themed things going on in my life this year, just from some projects I've done, some books that I've read, in like building my the school library that I'm now working at. I've started to incorporate some kind of dragon-y things into the decorating, so it just felt appropriate to choose that song lyric as the inspiration for the Speak Now pair of socks. But I'm gonna get started on the first sock right now and hopefully knock out a few rows of the ribbing, since I only have a few minutes before I have to leave for another event. So we'll at least get the ribbing started on sock number 1. Okay, let's talk about these socks. So, it's now December, if you couldn't tell by the Christmas lights that are behind me. I have not picked these up since the last clip that you saw in this video. And I just could not find the motivation to keep working on these socks. I don't know, I think it's a combination of things. One, this does not look as much like scales as I wanted to, especially compared with my 1989 socks that were the Mermaid Avenue pattern that really looked like scales. I feel like trying to do another scales themed sock was not the brightest idea, because I didn't want them to look the same, but I really should have used the Mermaid Avenue socks pattern for the dragon scales if that's really what I wanted. Two, I did not realize how much of this yarn was going to be blue. If you look at the skeins from the outside, they look mostly purple. And I knew that it had some blue running through it because of the marling, but there's a significant chunk of this sock that's going to be blue instead of purple. And while I don't hate that, I also don't love how it looks with this pattern. So I've been thinking a lot about how to address these socks and just what my sock knitting journey has looked like overall this year. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself to make intricate socks, to do fun things, to like really expand how I knit socks. And I think I did achieve that with the previous episodes of this series. But I also did some gift sock knitting, and I think maybe I just ran out of steam when it came to socks. But I want to get back into it, and I want to get back into it in a way that is achievable and gentle. So I am going to frog these, and we're going to rename these the Back to December socks because it's now December, so that feels appropriate. And I am just going to make a pair of vanilla socks. Is that what I had in mind when I set out to do this Taylor Swift sock project? No. Do I feel like I've earned a plain pair of relaxing vanilla socks with all the other stuff I've made this year? Absolutely. I did decide that I want to do a couple of fun things. So first of all, I do really like the 2x2 rib at the top, and I had not done that on a sock before. So I'm going to do the 2x2 rib on the next one. I am also going to wind both skeins on my cake winder so that I can see what the color patterning is going to look like so that I'm not surprised by this big chunk of blue. I don't think the blue really throws it out of the realm of being a Speak Now sock. I do think it's pretty, but I kind of just want to know what I'm working towards. And third, to give it a little bit more of the Speak Now era glitz, glam, fairy tale aspect, I'm going to make it sparkly. I have 2 cones of this glitter thread from Hobbii. I forget what it's called, but it essentially is the same type of stuff that they use to make glitter yarn, where it has that like sparkly strand running through it. They just sell the strand separately. So I'm going to turn this into a glitter yarn and frog this and hopefully get started on these socks again in just a few minutes. A good ways into my new design for the sock, and even though I said I was going to do just plain vanilla stockinette stitch socks, I did do a little bit of a fun stitch right underneath the cuff. This is a yarn over knit 2 together pattern, so it gets a kind of lace trellis looking effect, and it'll stretch out when I'm wearing it, so it'll look more like that. I thought it added a fun little detail. I am now through the heel and gusset, and just like I've been doing with most of my other socks, I just did a regular heel flap and gusset style heel, and now I'm kind of on the easy part, so I can just keep knitting for a while until I get my foot length and then add the toes. As you can probably tell, it is now Christmas Eve. I started these on the 22nd, knit on a little bit of them on the 22nd, and then yesterday on the 23rd, and it's now the 24th. So I don't know how much filming of this process I'll do over the next couple of days, just because it's Christmas, but I am probably going to take it with me as kind of a background project to work on while hanging out with family, and just kind of to have on hand, since it is such an easy one at this point in the process. But hopefully that means I can get a little bit of work on it done over the holiday. Okay, so I realized I only did one clip before stopping and talking again, or maybe it was two, I don't remember now. I realized when I was working on starting the second sock that I did the cuff wrong, because on the original sock it is 2x2 rib and I did 1x1 rib. So if you saw 1x1 rib in the last clip, no you didn't. I have now fixed it. I started over and I got all the way through the heel in the last couple days. This feels like peak chaos crafting at the moment, because in the span of the last couple days of filming, we had the whole TikTok ban shenanigans. It is now, what day is it? January 21st, which is a Tuesday, but it is too cold to go to school today, so I actually have a day off of work. So my plan for the remainder of the day is to finish this sock and listen to an audiobook. That is my only plan for the day, because it is too cold to do anything else. I can't go anywhere. I mean, I can go places. Do I want to? No. I have been given permission by my school to stay inside all day, so that is what I plan on doing. So we're gonna finish up this sock. That should work pretty well. I'm on the foot, which is the easiest part. I'm still working on the gusset decreases, but I only have like a couple more decrease rows left before I'm just doing straight stockinette for a while on the foot of the sock. I am now realizing like kind of just how different these socks are gonna look when they're done, because the stripes are much more apparent in this skein versus this skein, but whatever, we're just gonna go with it. If you've watched my other Taylor Swift sock vlogs, I promise they are not all like this. This just is the one that has the most chaos for whatever reason. This is going to be a very interesting video when I edit and upload it. But yeah, I'm going to stop talking and start knitting. Alright, I have a finished pair of socks. I do still have the pins in there. They did end up looking quite different from one another. This one's like ombre stripes and this one just kind of looks almost the same throughout. But I really love how the sparkle turned out, and I think the little pop of those lace stitches at the top was a really good addition. These are probably the most chaotic pair of socks I've ever made, just from the multiple rounds of frogging, them taking so long for me to finish, and kind of the funkiness of the yarn, but I do really like the finished product. So that's going to be it for this video. If you liked what you saw today, make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you can see all my content right here on YouTube. I am planning on finishing my Eras Tour socks in 2025. So I'm going to spread them out so that it's one every other or every couple of months. And I still have a few albums left to do, so you can stay tuned for that. If you want to follow me on other social media, that information will be in the description box below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.